Hey, okay, welcome to this mobilizer sequence. So we are starting with some wrist rocks. So in all fours, just going to build enough pressure through your wrist, going first off forward and backwards, and then secondly going side to side. We then move into circles. So you're trying to keep your arm straight, and you're just trying to mobilize your wrist in all these different directions. Just try and keep your breathing nice and steady and nice and soft as you do this. Alright, we're then going to do inverse hand. So you're going to turn your hands palm up, take the weight with your knees. As you can see here, it's a little baby push-up. But then what you're trying to do is trying to separate out your shoulder blades, tuck your chin to your chest, and you're going to feel tension coming up through the back of your arms on this one, so right into the back of your forearms. It's a really good kind of anti-typing exercise. Back into the forward and backwards, but with a slight little twist this time. So as you can probably see in the video, as I'm coming forwards, I'm rotating my arms inwards, and then I'm doing the same in reverse. So 4 or 5 with your arms coming in and forwards, and then reverse that, so your arms are going out and forwards. We then take your knees apart and sit you back onto your feet into a spinal twist. So here you're going to reach underneath, inhale as you lift up high, exhale as you come back down underneath. So it's a real nice little twist up through your back. Again, 4 or 5 on each side before you switch over, and you do exactly the same here. Now, having your knees apart just tends to isolate your thoracic spine. With your knees together, you tend to find that you get a bit more hip movement than we would want. So this is kind of triangle position with your knees, just kind of really focuses the work into your spine. Alright, into a sad cat, happy cat now. So fairly standard exercise. Again, chin to your chest, rounding your shoulders up. Breathing wise, when your chin is coming up, that's when you want to try and breathe in. And when your head is going down, that's when you want to try and breathe out. It's then into a more local and specific thoracic spine movement. So you wedge one elbow in between your knees, or as close as you can get. And then again, as you breathe in, you're going to raise your elbow up as high as you can. Exact same thing on the opposite side. Alright, we're then going to take your feet and your knees as wide apart as you can possibly go. And this is it's a hip mobilizer. So what I'm trying to do here is to sit my hips as far back as I can. You'll find that when your feet and knees are wide enough, there'll be a natural sticking point. We then do the same thing with one leg extended to feel a bit more of a pull through your inner thigh. So this is on my inner left leg. I'm feeling this here. Exact same thing. So now just try and keep all of your toes flat onto the floor as best you can. Again, take a seat onto your bottom. Have your feet very, very wide apart. And again, try and touch both knees towards the same side. Now you just use your arms to prop your body up. Again, it's just a real nice way of mobilizing your hips, going as close as you can. We then add on a forward fold. So you're going to try and bring your chest down towards your knee, your shin, or your ankle. The further you come down towards your ankle, the deeper the stretch you're going to find into your bum and into your hips. So it's slightly easier the more you go towards your knees. Okay, we then lift up into pigeon pose or swan. It's got a couple of names. So again, this is more of a mobilizing. So you're going to bring that 1 foot forwards. Inhale when you lift up. Exhale when you come down. Now position wise, see if you can get all 10 toes flat onto the floor. Again, inhale, lift. Exhale, come down. And you'll just start to feel the pressure build into the glute on the front leg. Then come into a downward dog. So really try and push your shoulder blades back into a lunge and into a twist. So heels down in the down dog, and then big step. And if you need to, you could always use your hand to pull your foot further forwards. And when we're trying to land your hand, kind of pretty much level with, land your foot pretty much level with your hands. And because your chest is opening, that's the time to breathe in. Moving into a kneeling hip flexor stretch. So you're going to start off by tilting your pelvis up. So you feel a slight pull into my left leg as it is on the video. And then we're going to add on the arm reach. So you're trying to go into a bit of a C shape. Now as you go into that C shape, okay, just give a little bit of a squeeze onto your back bum cheek. So my left bum cheek in this instance. And then switch arms, and if you can see, I'm now coming about 45 degrees. So I'm now just trying to get that pull between my left hip and my right shoulder. Back onto the other leg now, again just by starting kind of forwards and backwards, just to get that gentle pull through my right hip. I add my arm to add a little bit more tension. And we keep the hips doing exactly the same thing. And add on the opposite arm to reach. Okay, flipping over onto your back. Now this is just a very subtle one. So what I'm trying to do here is just to gently mobilize my hips again, just by doing some very small circles. We then lift up into bridge. Breathing wise is inhale as I lift, exhale as I come back down again. I'm just trying to push down through my heels as I do so. And into a lumbar rock, so feet and knees together. I'm trying to keep my shoulders as flat on the floor as I possibly can, and just allowing my legs just to roll gently side to side. Okay, it's an extended version, so with one leg on the floor, one leg in the air. So it's pretty much the same effect as the last one, but now with a bit more intensity. So you find it's a little bit more pull and a little bit more work to get the leg back up to vertical. Now coming into a leg drop. So first thing I've done here is I've got tension through my stomach. So I've tilted my pelvis like I'm trying to squash my lower back into the floor, creating tension through my core muscles. I'm then going to hold that tension as I extend the leg down towards the ground. The further my foot goes to the floor and the straighter my leg is, the harder this becomes. We then add on the opposite arm. Again, I'm still trying to create that tension into my core. And then another version of the knee roll, this time with my feet and knees off the floor. And you're going to find you need to use a little more of your stomach muscles to get this one going. But again, we're looking for a really smooth, steady and consistent speed as we go left to right. Then flip across onto all fours. I'm going to try and get my spine into neutral, so have that little dip in the base of my spine. Then maintain my balance as I take my opposite arm and leg and I stretch them out as far as I possibly can. Once again here, I'm just trying to create tension in my middle. So that's where my focus is. Okay, then from that all fours, then lift knees just an inch or two off the floor. And what I'm trying to do here is to maintain equal pressure through both of my hands. So the tendency will be to try and rotate my hips to compensate. And then progress that again to a knee to elbow. Again, I'm trying to keep my shoulders, my body and everything else as still as I possibly can as I move my feet around. You can then add in some variations where you're bringing knees to the same elbow or knees going across. Okay, just kind of mixes things up a little bit. And we'll just sit back, take a breath into child pose and just sit back and recover for as long as you need to. Okay, back onto all fours again, that little knee hover. So just a little crawl forward. So the thing I'm working on here is timing. So I'm trying to coordinate and time my hand and my opposite foot moving precisely together. Very slow, very, very deliberate. Surprisingly challenging. Okay, we then come back into child pose. This time my hands are a bit wider. I'm going to feel a bit more of a stretch into my back. Okay, so resting either into child pose or onto your spine like I'm doing here. Just a few seconds to focus back into your breathing and your deep diaphragm breath. So we're then going to come back into that dead bug position we did before. So again, it's opposite arm and leg. This now takes things a little bit more intensive. So I'm still trying to create tension in my stomach, reaching out as far as I can through those opposites. So we're probably looking at about 4 or 5 each side would be enough. Yeah, breathing is slow, consistent, deep. Okay, so next up, I'm then going to put my feet onto the floor. I'm going to come into what we call a slide. So it's going to be feet down, bum up. I'm going to try and keep my hands and my shoulders, my elbows rather, on the floor here. So I'm pushing down through my heels. This just creates a nice amount of shoulder stability and mobility. Now I personally have got a bit of restriction in my right shoulder following surgery, so I find it very hard to keep that right arm down. So I want you to see if you can, just to keep your elbow and hands touching the floor. You can just about see my left arm doing that okay. Trying to maintain that bridge and that tension through my glutes and into my stomach. Okay, then flip back over again onto all fours. I'm going to come into a down dog, into a lunge and into a twist as before. So by this point, if we've been following all the way through, should be feeling quite a lot warmer and quite a lot more mobile now. So we should be hopefully seeing that you can step further forwards and everything's becoming a little easier. Obviously here, speed is dependent on you. If you want to work a bit harder, you can simply work a bit faster. If you want to take your time to slow down. We're just going to do one more. Okay, then we come into a press up into a shoulder tap. Now again, you can choose to go knees down or knees up, but it's basically obviously chest down towards the floor. You're then trying to lift back up again, take one hand off the floor and just tap the opposite shoulder. So here's the option. Knees are down. Now what I'm trying to focus on is preventing my hips from moving too much. The tendency will be to allow my hip to rotate and to open. I'm going to try and work really hard not to allow that. There's always choices, always options for anything that we do. Alright, I'm about to come up to our feet, so if we can step up, stand nice and tall, take your feet wide and in some very easy squats. So weight is quite firmly into my heel. Again, just a little kind of 1 1/4, so what I'm doing is a little bounce, just a little quarter movement, down and then back up again. I just want you to see is as we do more, see if you get your bottom lower and lower to the floor with every repetition that you do. Important that you keep your knees kind of lining up with your third and your fourth toes. So there's an ever such a very subtle little push with your knees towards the outside, especially quite light on your toes and fairly heavy through your heel. Alright, from a squat we're going to step it into a reverse lunge. So again, I'll keep my chest up, obviously it's out of shot, but weight is in my heel, my chest is up, my eyes are forward, and it's a big step backwards. Now I'm trying to stay fairly light on the toes on my front foot, so occasionally see my toes lift. Okay, you definitely notice your heart rate will be rising up at this point. Again, feel free to go faster or slower according to how you want to feel. Okay, we're about to move into a single leg deadlift. So you're going to basically balance onto one foot, better than I did then. And then we're going to reach out. So the aim is that you're going to try and keep your body long and straight. Reach as far as you can forward. So there's one leg goes backwards, the same arm comes forward, and you'll feel quite a lot of work into the bum cheek on the standing leg. So my left leg here is doing pretty much all of the work. Okay, obviously with this whole video today, if you want to go faster or slower, feel free to pause, stop, fast forward, rewind as you need to, and at a pace that works for you. So we're looking for control, and so my right knee is a little bit wobbly here, so I want you to try and keep yours as stable as you possibly can. Right. It's a tough one, so when you first do it, you might have a little kind of stumble, a little wobble, and that's perfectly fine. Alright, so we've got just one more to do on this little video, and of course we're going to be down onto the floor. Only one way to really finish, and that's into a plank. So again, options are knees down or knees lifted. Either way, I need you to tilt your pelvis upwards. So you're dropping your tailbone down like you saw me just do then. Press your heels backwards so that you feel some length through the back of your legs. Shoulders directly over your elbows, head up, and then just breathing as steady and as fluidly as you can. If at any point you feel your whole body start to shake or your breathing get kind of really short and panty, that's probably time to stop. Again, feel free to work between knees up and knees down as and when you feel the need to. Alright, hope that makes sense. So take it time with the whole sequence. Feel free to stop, pause, rewind, fast forward as you need. Alright, take care.